Quadratic equations. Quadratic equation is a polynomial equation of the second degree. The general form is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where x represents a variable or an unknown, and a, b, and c are constants with a not equal to 0. If a is equal to 0, the equation is a linear equation. The constants a, b, and c are called respectively the quadratic coefficient and the linear coefficient and the constant term or free term. Quadratic and roots. Quadratic. A polynomial of degree is equal to 2. Y is equals to ax squared plus bx plus c. Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and it is a quadratic equation based on the exponent of x, which is 2, or degree of 2. Here is an example. 5x squared minus 3x plus 3 is equal to 0. The name quadratic comes from quad, meaning square, because the variable gets squared, like x squared. It is also called an equation of degree 2 because of the 2 on the x. And the roots. A real number, alpha, is called a root of the quadratic equation. Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a is not equal to 0. If a alpha squared plus b alpha squared plus c is equal to 0. If alpha is a root of ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, then we say that x is equal to alpha satisfies the equation of ax squared plus bx plus c, and it is equal to 0. Or x is equal to alpha, which is a solution of the equation ax squared plus bx plus c, and it is equal to 0. The root of a quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0 are called zeros of the polynomial ax squared plus bx plus c. Here are some examples of different form. In this case, x squared is equal to 3x minus 1. Move all terms to left hand side. Or, in standard form, x squared transpose 3x, it is negative 3x, and negative 1 to positive 1, and it is equal to 0. And the quadratic coefficient of a, b, and c are a is equals to 1, b is equals to negative 3, and c is equal to 1. Another example, 2 times w squared minus 2w is equal to 5. Expand, undo the brackets, and move 5 to left side. Or 2 times w squared, 2 times negative 2w or negative 4w, and transpose 5 to the left side, which is from positive 5 to negative 5, and equate that to 0. And the quadratic coefficient a, b, and c are a is equals to 2, b is negative 4, and c is negative 5. Another example, z times z minus 1, open close parenthesis, is equal to 3. Expand and move 3 to left. Z times z is z squared. Z times negative 1 is negative z, and transpose 3 to the other side, which is from positive 3 to negative 3, and equate that to 0. And the quadratic coefficient of a, b, and c are a is equals to 1, b is equals to negative 1, and c is equals to negative 3. And last, 5 plus 1 over x minus 1 over x squared is equal to 0. Multiply by x squared, and 5 times x squared, which is 5x squared, 1 over x times x squared, 1 over x times x squared, which is positive x, and negative 1 over x squared times x squared, which is negative 1, and equate that to 0. And the quadratic coefficients of a, b, and c are a is equals to 5, b is equals to positive 1, and c is equal to negative 1. So these are examples on how to determine the values of a, b, and c and the standard form. There are three ways to find the solutions. First, we can factor the quadratic. Find what to multiply to make the quadratic equation. Number two, we can complete the square. Or, number three, we can use the special quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula is x is equals to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac and all over 2a, where a, b, and c are the quadratic coefficient based on the general form. Thus, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0 has two roots, alpha and beta, given by a is equals to negative b plus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And for beta, beta is equals to negative b minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So these are the two values of x, which is represented by alpha, and another x, which is represented by beta. Discriminant. The expression b squared minus 4ac in the formula, which is x is equals to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a and b squared minus 4ac, it is called the discriminant because it can discriminate between the possible types of answer. It can be denoted by d. When b squared minus 4ac, d is positive. You get two real numbers or two real solutions. When it is 0, you get just one real solution. Both answers are the same. When it is negative, you get two complex solutions, or we have imaginary number. Using the quadratic formula, just put the values of a, b, and c into the quadratic formula and do the calculation. For example, solve 5x squared plus 6x plus 1 is equal to 0 and find the coefficients. Coefficients are a is equals to 5, b is equals to positive 6, and c is positive 1. Using the quadratic formula, which is x is equals to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, or negative 6 plus minus the square root of b squared, which is 6 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 5, times c, which is 1. And divide everything by 2 times a, which is 5. And summarize or simplify negative 6 plus negative square root of 6 times 6 is 36. Negative 4 times 5 times 1, or 4 times 5 is 20, times 1, that's 20. And it is negative 20 all over 2 times 5, or 10. And negative 6 plus minus the square root of 36 minus 20 is 16 all over 10. And negative 6 plus minus square root of 16 is 4 all over 10. And to get the value of x, negative 6 plus 4, which is negative 2 all over 10, or negative 1/5. And based on decimal point, it is equal to negative 0.2. While x is equal to negative 6 minus 4, which is negative 10 all over 10, and it is negative 1. So the values for x are negative 0.2 or negative 1, or in terms of fraction, that's negative 1/5 or negative 1. Factoring quadratics. To factor or factorize a quadratic is to find what to multiply to get the quadratic. It is called factoring because you find the factors. A factor is something you multiply by. Example, the factors of x squared plus 3x minus 4 are x plus 4 and x minus 1, which is 4 times x is 4x, x times negative 1 is negative x. So 4x minus x, that's 3x, which is at plus bx. Let us multiply them to see. X plus 4 times x minus 1, and distribute x minus 1 to x, which is x times x minus 1, and x minus 1 times 4, or plus 4 times x minus 1. And simplify. X times x is x squared, x times negative 1 is negative x, plus 4 times x is 4x, 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So x squared and Like terms negative x plus 4x, that's positive 3x, and negative 4, the constants. Multiplying x plus 4 times x minus 1 together is called expanding. In fact, expanding and factoring are opposites. So this is the given equation, and expand, and this is your value. And based on expansion and the factor, it is the x plus 4 times x minus 1. To solve by factoring, first, set the equation equal to 0. Number 2, factor. The factors will be linear equations or linear expressions. Number 3, set each linear factor equal to 0. And number 4, solve both linear equations. For example, solve by factoring x squared plus 3x is equal to 0. X squared plus 3x is equal to 0, which is set equation to 0, factor out x, and the remaining is x plus 3. Equate that to 0. And these are the factor. And set the linear factors equal to 0 and solve the linear equation. First linear equation is x times, or x is equal to 0, and another equation which is x plus 3, equate that to 0. And x is equal to 0, and the other value x plus 3 is equal to 0, or transpose positive 3 to the right side, which is x is equal to negative 3. So the factor of x squared plus 3x is equal to 0 are x is equal to 0, or the values of x is equal to 0, and x is equal to negative 3. Completing the square. Solving general quadratic equations by completing the square. First, completing the square is where we take a quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and turn into a x plus d, open close parenthesis, squared, plus e, which is equal to 0. We can use that idea to solve a quadratic equation. Find where it is equal to 0. But a general quadratic equation can have a coefficient of a in front of x squared. So ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. But that is easy to deal with. Just divide the whole equation by a first, then carry on. So which means you divide first term ax squared to a plus b over a x plus c all over a, and it is equal to 0. We can solve quadratic equations in 5 steps. Step 1. Divide all terms by a, which is the coefficient of x squared. If it is the coefficient of x squared is 1, so no need to divide the all terms. Step 2. Move the number term c over a to the right side of the equation. Step 3. Complete the square on the left side of the equation and balance this by adding the same value to the right side of the equation. And step 4. Take the square root on both sides of the equation. And step 5. Add or subtract the number that remains on the left side of the equation to find x. Example. Solve each of the following equations by factoring. Number 1. X squared minus x is equal to 12. So number 1, x squared minus x is equal to 12. Using the general form, x squared minus x, transpose 12 to the left side from positive 12 to negative 12 and equate that to 0. And using factoring, which is x squared, so x, open close parenthesis, and x, and equate that to 0. So the factor of 12 are 6 times 6, 4 and 3, and 1 and 12. If we add up 6 and 6, so 6 plus 6 is 12. Or in terms of negative, 6 minus 6 is 0. 4 plus 3 or 7. 4 minus 3 is 1. And add up 1 plus 12 is 13. And subtract 1 minus 12 is negative 11. The coefficient should be negative, and this is positive. So negative 4 plus 3, and that's negative 1. So therefore, the combination is negative 4 and plus 3. This is negative 4 and positive 3. X minus 4 equate to 0, and another equation, x plus 3 is equal to 0. So x minus 4 equal to 0, or x is equal to, transpose negative 4 to the right side, and that's positive 4. While x plus 3 is equal to 0, and transpose positive 3 to the right side, and it is negative 3. Therefore, the value of x are x is equal to positive 4, and another x is equal to negative 3. So these are the values for number 1. Number 2, y squared plus 12y plus 36, and it is equal to 0. And this is in general form. So therefore, you factor, so y, open close parentheses, and y, and equate that to 0. So the factors of 36 are 6 times 6, or 12 times 3, or 1 and 36. If we add up 6 plus 6, therefore it is equal to 12. 12 plus 3, and it is equal to 15. And 1 plus 36, and it is equal to 37. The coefficient of b is positive 12, so therefore the combination is 6 and 6. So this should be positive 6 and positive 6. The equations are, or the linear equation, y plus 6 is equal to 0, and another y plus 6 and also equal to 0. Y plus 6 equals to 0, y is equals to transpose positive 6 to the right side, and it is negative 6. Value, y plus 6 equals to 0, and transpose positive 6 to the right side, and it is also negative 6. So therefore, the value for y's are, y is equals to negative 6, and another y which is also negative 6. So these are the values for number 2. Number 3, 4m squared minus 1 is equal to 0. Based on the given, we have two terms. This is the difference of two squares, which means the first term 4m squared, and the square is 2m squared, while the second term, which is 1, so m or 1 squared is also 1. 2m squared, it is 4m squared. Difference, which is negative sign, so therefore 2m, the sign is negative 1, and another 2m positive 1, which is equal to 0. It's a plus b times a minus b is equal to a squared minus b squared. This is the formula for difference of two squares. Equate that to 0. So 2m minus 1 is equal to 0, and another 2m plus 1 is also equal to 0. Then 2m is equal to negative 1 to right side, which is positive 1, and divide everything by 2, or m is equals to 1 over 2. And 2m plus 1 is equal to 0, so 2m, and positive 1 to the right side, and that's negative 1. And divide everything by 2, that's negative 1 all over 2. So therefore, the values for m are, m is equals to 1/2, and m is equals to negative 1/2. So these are the values at number 3. And number 4, which is a fraction, 1 all over x plus 1 is equal to 1 minus 5 all over 2x minus 4. And we will find the LCM, or the lowest common multiple. And the lowest common multiple, or LCM, are, the denominator is x plus 1, and another denominator for 5 over 2x minus 4, or 2x minus 4. This is the LCM for our fraction. And we will multiply by the LCM, which is x plus 1 and 2x minus 4. 1 over x plus 1 times x plus 1 times 2x minus 4, the value is 2x minus 4. And equate that to 1 times x plus 1 times 2x minus 4. and this is x plus 1 times 2x minus 4, and minus sign. 5 times x plus 1 times 2x minus 4 all over 2x minus 4. The remaining is 5 times x plus 1. X plus 1. And simplify. So this is 2x minus 4 is equal to x times 2x, or 2x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. Plus 1 times 2x, or plus 2x. Plus 1 times negative 4, it is for negative 4. And negative 5 times x, or negative 5x. Negative 5 times positive 1 is also negative 5. And simplify. So 2x minus 4 is equal to 2x squared. Negative 4x plus 2x is negative 2x minus 5x, or it is negative 7x. And the constants, negative 4 and negative 5 is negative 9. And transpose 2x minus 4 to the right side and equate that to 0, or 2x squared minus 7x minus 9, and 2x is negative 2x, negative 4 is positive 4, and equate that to 0. 2x squared negative 7x minus 2x, or negative 9x. Negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5, and equate that to 0. And the factors for 2x squared minus 9x minus 4 and minus 5 is equal to 0 are 2x and x, and equate that to 0. So the factor for 5 is 5 and 1, and another factor is 2 and 1. So 5 times 2, that's 10, and 1 times 1 is 1. Factor is negative and the other factor is positive. If we put negative to negative 10 to 10, and the other one is positive, so negative 10 plus 1 is equal to negative 9. We will use the factor, which is 5 and 2 and 1 times 1. So 2x, and this should be 5, and the sign is negative. This one is negative, and this is positive 1. And 2x plus 1 times x minus 5 is equal to 0. And the linear equations, two x plus 1 is equal to 0, and another equation, x minus 5 is equal to 0. 2x, transpose positive 1 right side, or negative 1, and divide everything by 2, or x is equals to negative 1/2. While x, transpose negative 5 to the other side, or 0 plus 5, and it is equal to 5. Therefore, the values for x are x is equal to negative 1/2 and x is equal to 5. So these are the values for number 4. Another example. Use completing the square to solve each of the following quadratic equations. Number 5. X squared minus 6x plus 1 is equal to 0. So 5. X squared minus 6x plus 1 is equal to 0. Using the completing the square, x squared minus 6x and the constant positive 1, transfer it to the right side and change the sign. So this is negative 1. By the coefficient of b, which is 6, always divide by 2 and square. You add from the left side, which is 6 over 2 square. Also, right side, which is 6 all over 2 square. Perfect square for x squared minus 6x plus 6 over 2 is 3 square, or 9. This is x, copy the sign, negative, and 6 over 2 is 3. And this is square, is equal to negative 1. 6 over 2 is 3, and 3 times 3 is 9. And this is x minus 3 squared is equal to positive 8, or 8, negative 1 plus 9, or positive 8. And then square root from the left and the right side. So x minus 3, and this is plus minus square root of 8. transfer the constant negative 3 to the right side, or x is equals to negative 3 plus minus, which is square root of 8 is also equal to square root of 4 is 4 times 2, and the square root of 4 is 2, and square root of 2. So this should be square root of 2, or 2 square root of 2. So the values of x are x is equals to negative 3 plus 2 square root of 2, and another x which is negative 3 and negative 2 square root of 2. So these are the values of x using completing the square at number 5. Number 6. 2x squared plus 6x plus 7 is equals to 0. 2x squared plus 6x plus 7 is equal to 0. Once you have a value or more than 1, the coefficient of x squared, always divide the coefficient with the same value, which is 2. So 1 over 2. 2x squared over 2, which is x squared, plus 6x over 2, that's 3x, plus 7 over 2, or 7 over 2, and equal to 0 times 1/2 is 0. Using completing the square, x squared plus 3x transpose positive 7 over 2, or this is negative 7 all over 2. Using the square of b, so 3 always divide by 2, and square. You add the constant at the left side, which is positive always, 3 all over 2 square, and add also with the same value, so plus 3 all over 2 square. Square, the perfect square is x, copy the sign, which is positive, and 3 all over 2, and this is square, is equal to negative 7 all over 2, and simplify 3 over 2 square, which is 3 times 3 is 9, and 2 times 2 is 4, and get the LCD, which is 4. So 4 times 7 over all over 2, or negative 7 times 2, or negative 14, plus 4 over 4 is 1, and times 9, or positive 9. And this is x plus 3 all over 2 square. And x plus 3 all over 2 square is equal to negative 14 plus 9 is negative 5. And this is negative 5 all over 4. And square root both sides. And this is x plus 3 all over 2 is equal to plus minus square root of negative 5 all over 4. And transpose positive 3 over 2 to the right side. X is equal to negative 3 all over 2 plus minus the square root of negative is equivalent to I, which is imaginary number, and this is 5 all over 4, and you put I outside the square root, and the values are x is equal to negative 3 all over 2 plus minus square root of 5, and square root of 4 is 2, and I. X is equals to negative 3 all over 2 plus square root of 5 over 2i, or x is equals to negative 3 over 2 minus square root of 5 all over 2i. So these are the values for x in problem number 6. And number 7, 3x squared minus 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. Using the completing the square, always divide the coefficient of x squared, which is 3, and divide, or 1 over 3. So 3x squared all over 3 is x squared. Negative 2x all over 3 is negative 2 over 3, 2/3 of x. And negative 1 times 1/3 is negative 1/3, and 0 times 1/3 is 0. Using computing the square, x squared minus 2 over 3x, and the constant, which is negative 1/3, transposed to the right side, and that's positive 1/3. The coefficient of b, which is 2/3, divide always by 2, and square, which is 2 over 3 and divide by 2, or 1/3 square. Positive 1/3 square, and also to the other side, which is also positive 1/3 square. Perfect square, the left side, which is x, copy the sign, which is negative, and 1/3 squared is equal to 1/3 plus 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 3 is 9, so 1 over 9. X minus 1/3 square is equal to, the LCD is 9. 9 divided by 3 is 3 times 1, or 3, plus 9 over 9 is 1 times 1 is positive 1. And this is 4 over 9. X minus 1/3 square. Square root both sides, so square root of, and positive minus square root of. So this is x minus 1/3 is equal to plus minus square root of 4 is 2, and square root of 9 is 3. And transpose negative 1/3 to the right side, or x is equal to positive 1/3 plus minus 2 all over 3. X is equals to 1/3 plus, using plus sign, 2 over 3. X is equals to 1/3 negative sign of 2/3. So x is equals to 1/3 plus 2 over 3. The common denominator is 3. 1 plus 2 is also 3. So x is equal to 1. While x equals to 1/3 minus 2/3, x is equals to, the common denominator is 3. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So therefore, the values of x are x is equals to 1 and x is equals to negative 1/3. And this is the answer for problem number 7. Another example, use the quadratic formula to solve each of the following equations. Number 8, x squared plus 2x is equal to 7. X squared plus 2x is equal to 7. And simplify using the general form equation, which is x squared plus 2x, transpose 7 to the left side, which is equal to negative 7, and equate that to 0. Once you have the general form equation, identify what is a, b, and c. So a is 1, b is positive 2, and c is negative 7. Using the quadratic formula, which is x is equal to b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, and divide by 2a. And substitute the values of a, b, and c. So x is equal to negative b is 2 plus minus the square root of b, which is 2 square, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, and it is equal to negative 7. And divide everything by 2 times a, which is 1. So negative 2 plus minus square root of, so simplify, 2 squared is 4, minus 4 times 1 is negative 4, times negative 7, or positive 28. So this is 4 plus 28. And divide also by 2 times 1, or 2. And negative 2 plus minus square root of 4 plus 28 is square root of 32. And divide by 2. And that's x. X is equal to negative 2 plus minus square root of 32 which is square root of 16 times 2, or square root of 16 is 4 square root of 2, and divide by 2. And then x is equal to negative 2 plus sign 4 square root of 2 and divide by 2, which is negative 1 plus 4 over 2 is 2 square root of 2. And this is first value for x. At x is equals to negative 2 minus 4 square root of 2 and divide by 2. This is negative 1. 4 over 2 is negative 2 square root of 2. And this is another value for x. So the value for x are x equals to negative 1 plus 2 square root of 2, and x is equals to negative 1 minus 2 square root of 2. So these are the values in problem number 8. Example number 9. 3q squared plus 11 is equals to 5q. So number 9, 3q squared plus 11 is equal to 5q. Based on the general form, 3q squared, 5q transposed to the left side, that's negative 5q, and positive 11 is equal to 0. Identify what is a. A is equals to 3, b is equals to negative 5, and c is equals to positive 11. Using the formula for quadratic, which is x is equals to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, and divide by 2a, where x is q, so therefore that's q, and b is negative times negative 5 plus minus the square root of b squared, or negative 5 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 3, times c, or 11, and divide everything by 2, and a is 3, and simplify. Negative times negative 5, or positive 5, plus minus the square root of negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12 times 11, and it is equal to negative 132. And divide by 2 times 3, or 6. And q, 5 plus 25 minus 132, or it is negative 107. So this is negative 107, and divide by 6. And q, it is equal to 5 plus minus square root of negative sign is an imaginary number, or I. So square root of 107 and I, and divide by 6. So q, 5 plus square root of 107i, and divide by 6. And another q, which is 5 minus square root of 107i, and divide by 6. So these are the values for problem number 9. Number 10, 3 all over y minus 2 is equal to 1 over y plus 1. So number 10, 3 all over y minus 2 is equal to 1 over y plus 1. Based on the LCM, which is the lowest common multiple, LCM, we have the first denominator is 1 minus 2, y minus 2, and another denominator is y. So the LCM is y minus 2 times y, and we will multiply this by LCM, which is y minus 2 times y. Distribute. So y minus 2 times y times 3 all over y minus 2. So the remaining value is 3 times y is equal to 1 over y times y minus 2 times y, or y minus 2, plus 1 times y minus 2 times y. So y minus 2 times y. And simplify. So 3 times y, or 3y, is equal to y minus 2 plus y times 1 times y, or y squared, And y times negative 2 times 1 is positive or negative 2y. And this is y squared. Y minus 2y is negative y minus 2. And transpose 3y to the right side, and negative 3y, equate that to 0. And summarize, y squared minus y minus 3y is negative 4y minus 2, and it is equal to 0. And using the quadratic equation, so y, we'll identify first what is a. A is positive 1, b is equals to negative 4, and c is negative 2. And y is negative b, which is negative 4, plus minus the square root of negative 4 squared, which is b squared, minus 4ac, or 4 times a, and it is 1, and multiplied by c, which is negative 2. And divide everything by 2 times a, which is 1. And negative times negative 4, or positive 4, plus minus. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 2 is positive 8. And divide by 2 times 1, or 2. And this is 4 plus minus square root of 16 plus 8, or square root of 24. So this is square root of 24 all over 2. 4 plus minus square root of 24 is 4 times 6, and the square root of 4 is 2, square root of 6, and divide by 2. And this is equal to y. So therefore, the values y is equals to 4 plus 2 square root of 6 all over 2 is equal to 4 over 2 is 2, plus 2 over 2 is 1 times square root of 6, or square root of 6. And another y, which is y is equals to 4 minus 2 square root of 6 all over 2, and 4 over 2 is 2, negative 2 square root of 6 over 2 is negative square root of 6, and this is y. So therefore, these are the values. Y is equals to 2 plus square root of 6, and y is equals to 2 minus square root of 6. And these are the values in problem number 10.